Hello class. Now, last lesson we looked at the different structural adaptation, okay? So the physical adaptation of the body parts, okay? For example, wide feet, all right? And and what we also talked about was the fact that there are three types of adaptation, okay? The structural, the behavioral, and functional adaptation, okay? For example, now the behavioral, which we've not really talked much about, is camels are most active during colder mornings and sit in shades when hotter. And functional adaptation, an example is camels do not sweat to minimize water loss, if that makes sense. All right. So, what I asked us to do is to do some reading, but I need us to also have a read again, okay? What I need you to do right now is to look at your book, all right, and make sure look at the resources we've sent you, all right? Read the adaptation of rabbits, and I need you to choose three color keys. So choose three different colors, all right? Highlight each adaptation to show if it's functional, structural, or behavioral. But before you do that, I want you to pause the video, all right, and make sure you've got all your equipment with you. All right. Now, this is actually a continuation from last topic. That is why I'm not giving you a learning objective, because it's the same learning objective as last lesson. So this is just a continuation. All right. So make sure you've got all your equipment with you, and make sure you pause the video, read through the article, all right, and highlight which adaptation each of them shows, the type of adaptation. All right, are we done? While you're doing that, I was actually doing mine, believe it or not. All right. Now, this is from the article. Now, what I've done now is I've done my own key. Okay. I've chosen the red for structural. I've chosen the green for behavioral. I've chosen the purple for functional. So let's look at the rabbit. Okay. Let's look at structural. Right. So coloring provide effective camouflage in grassland habitats. We also have another one called wide spaced eyes gives wide field of vision for surveillance of the habitat and detection of danger. And then another structural adaptation is long mobile ears enables detection of sounds from all angles for predators detections. And the last structural is the long, strong hind legs, large feet, enables rapid movement, and are well suited into digging as well. Okay, so I want to look at behavioral. All right, I was able to discover about 4 behavioral points. Okay, so it lives in groups with a well-organized social structure that facilitates cooperative events. Another one is burrowing activities provide underground habitats away from predators. And then we've got thumbs, the ground with hind legs to warn others of rabbits. To warn other rabbits of danger, which is quite amazing and really smart. All right. Also, the last one is freeze behavior when started. Okay, reduces possibility of detections from wandering predators. So they pretend like maybe they're starters or something. And then when we look at some of the functional behaviors, okay, we've got things like high metabolic rate, fast response times, enables rapid response to danger. And then we've got things like keen sense of smell allows detection of potential threats from predators and from rabbits from other warrants. Okay, so apart from actually detecting danger from other species, they're also detecting danger from other types of rabbits as well. All right, the same way different animals fight each other. And also we've got microbial digestion of vegetations in the gut enables for efficient digestion of grass. Now, this is called symbiosis, and you're going to learn about symbiosis later on if you decide to study more about biology and bacteria towards your career. How we humans and different animals have actually got a symbiosis relationship with different bacteria. Okay, so we give the bacteria something, they give us something back in return. All right, so you're going to learn more about that. But anyways, these are the information I was able to collect. Were you able to collect some of these informations as well? And did you get everything right? And did you discover something new? Let me know. All right. All right, let's move on. Now, what I'd like you to do is to complete the exam question. All right, in the resources we provided to you, there are exam questions you need to do. Now, even if the animal is unfamiliar, all right, you should still have enough information to attempt the question. Don't let the name of the animal scare you. All right, you're going to be given information about the animal. Okay, so the adaptation should flow in as you write down. All right, so what I want you to do is to think carefully about the habitat, e.g., if it's hot and dry, think about conserving water and staying cool, and use what animal you already know about. Use the information you know about the other animals as well to answer your questions. Okay, so try and answer those questions. So pause the video and answer it. All right, are you done answering the questions? Brilliant. Now, what I've also done is to provide you with a marking sheet as well, so you can have a look at the marking sheet and try and mark it. Okay, remember, there's no point of view copying the answers. Okay, there's no way you're going to learn. So try to attempt the question. Make sure you attempt the question on your own, and then you do the marking later on. This is how you're going to learn, and it's going to help you learn how to answer exam questions properly. Okay. All right. How many of us got full marks? I'm sure most of us got most marks right, but well done to everybody for making attempts. What's important is making those corrections, okay, and knowing why you've done wrong. All right, brilliant. So, apart from knowing about animals, remember we also said we're going to talk about plant adaptations as well, okay? So, hopefully, we're able to understand why certain plants have adaptations, and we have to think about what plants need to survive as well, especially looking at the type of environment they might be found in. Okay, so plants need, what do plants really need? Okay, light for photosynthesis, they need glucose and nutrients to grow. All right, they need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, so gases either enter or leave through the stomata and by the bottom of the leaf. They need water to grow and keep hydrated. Okay, which water enters through the roots through the process of osmosis, and obviously lost by evaporation by the leaf stomata under the leaf. Okay, so these are the things that plants do need, all right, for it to survive. Okay, now adaptations in plants, desert climates. Now you are likely to be asked about plants which are adapted in living in the desert. Most exam questions that are talking about adaptation of plants, they talk about plants in the desert. For example, cactus. The same type of adaptation actually applies to all plants living in warm and dry environments, which makes life easier for you when you're answering the exam questions. You just need to know about these adaptations, okay? So, one is small surface area, volume ratio, all right? And why do you think it's going to have a small surface area? All right, like I said, and so like cacti, for example, okay, have spines instead of leaves to reduce water loss, okay? Now, small shaped leaves as well, folded shapes to reduce transpiration, so evaporation of water through the stomata. Again, it is to reduce water loss, if that makes sense. Now, we've got waxy leaves as well. Why do you think it's going to have waxy leaves? Can you think of why? Well, again, it's to help to reduce water loss through the top of the leaf. Remember, it wants to conserve water, it needs that water. It also reflects it to keep it cool and protected. All right, just to continue with the adaptation in plant and desert climate, okay? Hopefully this works. Yes, so water storage tissue, cactus thick stem to store water. These are some of the things it's got. Maximizing water absorption, like shallow, extensive roots to absorb water more quickly over a large area when it does rain. So remember, it wants to keep as much water as possible to survive. Okay. Also, deep roots to access underground water. Remember, if you're living in the desert, you can't really find water on the surface. You have to dig really, really, really deep to find water. Okay, and bulb roots on the ground act as water storage as well. Okay, so these are pictures of different plants that can be found in the desert as well. Can we name some of them? All right, so one thing we need to talk about now is extremophiles. Okay, now extremophiles are actually organisms that are adapted to survive in very extreme conditions. So we're talking about very high or very low temperatures, okay, high salt concentrations in water, and high pressure. Now I remembered over a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, they discovered a particular species, very very small animal that is able to survive in space. And that is quite interesting. And they've argued on the fact that it should be able to survive on other planets as well. Okay. So it's very, very interesting how we've actually got extremophiles, okay? Animals that can survive in extreme conditions, okay? All right. Now, one example of the bacteria that actually survive in extreme conditions is basically a bacteria that is found in hot springs or deep sea vents, okay? Now, these animals can actually survive at 40 to 80 degrees because their enzymes do not denature at high temperature. Remember, enzymes start denaturing around 40 degrees, okay? But this is able to survive in extremely high temperature. Now, there's a video there for you to watch. I will let you watch that video in your own time, okay? But this is just for you to gain a bit more knowledge about what we are talking about. Now, again, like always do, I like you to actually complete this exam question. Now, even if you're not familiar, like I said, with the plants, okay, they're talking about, think carefully about the habitat, think about whether it's too hot, too dry, and think about reducing the rate of transpiration and maximizing water uptake and storage as well, okay? So pause the video and try and answer the question. Again, a bit more information. Okay, you try and use the info sheet to help you organize your answers, and make sure you use the math scheme to self-assess your work as well and set improvement targets. All right, now what we've done today is that we've been able to describe different resources plants and animals need to actually compete and to survive. We've been able to describe structural, behavioral, and functional adaptations of organisms, and hopefully you cannot describe what an extremophile is. All right. Now, make sure you email us. Feel free to email us, ask us questions. Make sure you go through the resources we provided to you because, these are meant to help you, okay? You've got your GCSEs coming up and I've got high faith in you, okay? So we provided you with these resources. Make sure you use them, okay? Because it's for your own benefit. Again, make sure you complete the questions. Make sure you self-assess your work and make sure you email us if you've got any questions, okay? Bye-bye.